Dr. Alan Wright rubbed his tired eyes and looked again at the screen of numbers and patterns. For 3 days straight, he had been trying to understand the strange signals coming from deep space. As the lead engineer on Earth's first faster-than-light spaceship project, he had access to the most powerful listening devices humans had ever built. "You need to sleep, Alan," said Dr. Olivia Martinez as she walked into the lab with 2 cups of coffee. She handed one to him and pulled up a chair. "How can I sleep when these signals keep getting stronger?" Alan said, taking a sip of the hot coffee. "They're not random, Olivia. There's a pattern." The year was 2087, and humanity had just broken the light-speed barrier 6 months ago with a small test probe. The achievement had filled every news channel on Earth. Humans were finally ready to reach beyond their solar system. "Let me see," Olivia said. As the team's language expert, she had a gift for finding patterns others missed. "Have you tried running it through the new translation matrix?" Alan shook his head and typed a few commands. The screen changed, showing lines of what looked almost like words. "That's it." Olivia leaned forward, her eyes wide. "Alan, I think we're picking up some kind of meeting or debate. These patterns match speech patterns. Far across the galaxy, in a massive round chamber filled with strange beings from 17 different planets, an important meeting was taking place. The room was arranged in rising circles, with each delegation sitting in their own section. Some breathed different air mixtures, others needed special gravity settings, but all were united as members of the Galactic Confederation. At the center of the chamber stood Ambassador Zethal of the Voraxians, the tall, blue-skinned being raised, all 4 of his arms for silence. "Honored representatives," Zithal's voice boomed through the chamber's translation system. "We face a growing threat. A new species has achieved faster-than-light travel." Murmurs spread through the chamber. A small, glowing being floated forward from the luminary section. "Is this cause for celebration, not concern?" asked the luminary. Delegate, its body pulsing with gentle light. "A new species to welcome to our community?" Zethal pressed a button, and a hologram of Earth appeared in the center of the room. "These are humans," he said. "Our observation posts have studied them for centuries. They are violent, unpredictable, and dangerously creative. They have fought thousands of wars against each other. They develop technology at an alarming rate." He showed images of Earth's history: battles, weapons, cities growing, forests shrinking. "I propose Resolution 87D, the containment and subjugation of humans before they become a greater threat. We will take control of their planet and use them for labor. Their creativity can serve us in controlled settings." Back on Earth, Alan and Olivia worked through the night with their growing team. They had connected the signal to their best translation computers. "I think they're talking about a planet," said Olivia, studying the partial translation. "Something about containment?" Alan frowned. "Keep working on it. I need to brief General Hayes." In a secure room beneath Washington, D.C., Alan showed what they had discovered to General Samantha Kelly, head of Earth's Unified Defense Council. "You're telling me aliens are real, and they're talking about us?" General Kelly asked, her face serious. "We think so," Alan replied. "The translation is rough, but we've picked up words like humans, Earth, and containment. Who else knows about this?" "Just my team and now you." General Kelly nodded. "Keep this quiet. I'll inform the president. Double your team, but tell them it's a training exercise." In the Confederation chamber, the debate continued. "The humans have achieved faster than light. Travel years ahead of our predictions," said Zethal. "Our models gave them at least another century." A reptilian delegate from the Drex Collective stood. "What threat can they pose to us? Their technology is primitive. One of our scout ships could destroy their entire fleet." "It is not their current technology that concerns me," Zethal replied. "It is how quickly they develop. They went from simple flight to walking on their moon in just 66 years. From basic computers to global networks in less than 50 years. The luminary delegate floated forward again. "Then we should guide them, not enslave them. They could bring fresh ideas to our Confederation." "Fresh ideas lead to chaos," Zethal said firmly. "The Confederation has had peace for 3,000 years because we all follow the same rules and patterns. Humans follow no patterns. They are dangerous. One by one, delegates spoke. Some shared Zethel's concerns. Others thought humans sounded interesting, but agreed they needed control. Only the Luminari argued for leaving Earth alone. We will now vote on Resolution 87D, announced the Chamber's central computer. The immediate containment and subjugation of the species known as humans. Light panels in front of each delegation changed color as they voted. Green for yes, red for no. The chamber filled with green light, with only the Luminari section glowing red. Resolution passed, the computer announced. Fleet deployment will begin immediately. Zethel smiled. Select Admiral Krelvor to lead the Earth mission. The humans won't know what hit them. On Earth, Alan's team finally made a breakthrough. We've got it, Olivia shouted. The translation is working. They gathered around as the alien words became clear in English. Their faces grew pale as they understood what they were hearing. Subjugation of humans. Minimal resistance. Expected. Fleet deployment. Call General Kelly, Alan said quietly. Now. In her office, General Kelly listened to the full translation. Her hands formed fists on her desk. How long do we have? She asked. Based on the signal origin, maybe 6 months before they reach Earth, Alan answered. And can we fight them? Alan shook his head. Their technology sounds centuries beyond ours. General Kelly stood up. Then we need another plan. I'm authorizing a new project, top secret. We'll call it Project Prometheus. The Titan who gave fire to humans, Olivia said. Exactly, the general nodded. We need fire now. Alan, I want you to lead the scientific team. If we can't match their technology, we need to find its weaknesses. And if we can't find any? Alan asked. General Kelly looked out her window at the peaceful city below. Then we make them believe we've surrendered, while building a resistance they'll never see coming. Meanwhile, in the depths of space, the Confederation fleet prepared. Massive ships, each the size of a small city, moved into formation. Admiral Krelvor stood on the bridge of the command ship, looking at the hologram of Earth. Such a small planet, he said to his officers. Hard to believe it holds such a troublesome species. The invasion plan is ready, Admiral, said his second-in-command. We'll establish orbital control points and begin the subjugation process. Our models predict they'll surrender within days. Krelvor nodded. Set course for Earth. It's time these humans learned their place in the galaxy. As the alien fleet moved through space toward Earth, humanity remained unaware of the danger, except for a small group of scientists and military leaders rushing to prepare for what was coming. A storm was approaching, and Earth had only 6 months to get ready. 6 months passed too quickly. Alan Wright stood with General Kelly on the roof of the Defense Department building, watching the sky. Massive shadows crawled across the blue, blocking the sun like dark clouds. They're bigger than we thought, Alan said, his voice quiet. How's Project Prometheus coming? General Kelly asked. She kept her eyes on the alien ships. There were 7 of them, each larger than the biggest aircraft carrier on Earth. We've made progress, but we need more time, Alan replied. At least another 6 months. General Kelly nodded. Then we give them what they want for now. The world's leaders had been briefed 2 months ago. At first, many didn't believe the warning. Then the alien ships appeared on long-range sensors, and disbelief turned to panic. Now, all nations had agreed on one plan. Pretend to surrender, while secretly preparing to fight back. The first message from the aliens came through every electronic device on Earth at the same time. Admiral Krelvor's face appeared on screens worldwide. He looked almost human, but with gray skin, no hair, and eyes that were too large and too purple. People of Earth, the alien said in perfect English. I am Admiral Krelvor of the Galactic Confederation. Your planet is now under our control. Resistance is pointless and will result in destruction. Accept our rule, and you will live. Defy us, and you will perish. In the White House Situation Room, the President of the United States sat with leaders from other major nations. They watched as General Kelly stepped forward to address the aliens through the emergency broadcast system. "This is General Samantha Kelly of Earth's Unified Defense Council," she said, her voice firm. "We recognize the superiority of your forces and wish to avoid bloodshed. Earth surrenders." On his command ship, Admiral Krelvor smiled. "Excellent. That was even easier than our models predicted. Begin landing operations." The first alien troops landed in major cities across Earth. They set up control centers and began installing strange devices on tall buildings. Within days, a network of glowing lines appeared in the sky, the control grid that would prevent any unauthorized spacecraft from leaving Earth. At the main alien base outside New York City, Administrator Krelvor met with Earth's representatives. He was smaller than Admiral Krelvor, but clearly the same species. "You will continue your normal lives," he told them, "but 20% of your population will be selected for labor on Mars, the Moon, and the asteroid belt. We need resources, and you will help us get them." "What about our governments?" asked one world leader. "They will remain as figureheads only," Krelvor replied. "Real power rests with my administrators in each region. This meeting is over." As the Earth leaders left, Krelvor turned to his assistant. "These humans are so primitive. Did you see their transportation vehicles? They still use wheels and burn fossil fuels." "Yes, Administrator," the assistant replied, "though their digital systems are surprisingly advanced." "A fluke," Krelvor said dismissively. "Put their best minds to work in the mines. Physical labor will keep them from causing trouble." Meanwhile, deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, the real work continued. The entrance looked like an ordinary mining operation, but 1,000 feet down the tunnel opened into a vast chamber. Here, Earth's best scientists worked day and night on Project Prometheus. Alan and Olivia stood at the main research table, studying the alien technology they had managed to secretly collect. "Their power systems are impressive," Alan said, examining a small device they had taken from a crashed alien scout ship. "But look at this." He pointed to a circuit-like pattern. "They use a completely different approach to quantum mechanics than we do." "Is that important?" asked Olivia. "It might be," Alan replied. "Their technology is more advanced, but it's built on different principles. There might be angles they've never explored because they went down a different path." In another part of the facility, Lisa Donovan prepared for her new assignment. She was a mining engineer who would be sent to Mars with the first group of human workers. "Your job is to learn everything you can about their mining technology," General Kelly told her. "Find weaknesses, gather intelligence, and if possible, smuggle back samples." Lisa nodded. "I understand. When do I leave?" "Tomorrow. They're taking 10,000 workers on the first transport." The next day, Lisa and thousands of others were loaded onto huge alien ships. They each carried only one small bag of personal items. The ships were crowded and uncomfortable, with humans packed into tight sleeping quarters. "This is how they see us," whispered the man next to Lisa. "Just animals to do their work." Lisa didn't reply. She was already studying the ship's layout, memorizing every detail she could. 2 weeks later, Lisa stood on the red surface of Mars, wearing a suit designed by the aliens. Around her, other humans were being organized into work groups. Alien supervisors shouted orders through translator devices. Group 7 to the northern ridge, Group 8 to the processing plant. Lisa was assigned to Group 3, working in the main excavation site. The aliens had massive machines that could dig faster than anything humans had built, but they needed workers to sort through the materials and operate smaller equipment. On her first day, Lisa noticed something odd. The alien supervisor's control pad flickered whenever one of the large diggers passed nearby. It was just a small thing, but she filed it away in her memory. 3 months into the occupation, Earth seemed peaceful. Alien control centers operated in every major city. Human governments still existed but had no real power. Millions of people had been taken to work in space. But beneath the surface, resistance grew. In hidden places, humans built and trained. They shared information through old methods, paper notes, in-person meetings, and coded messages hidden in normal communications. In the Prometheus facility, Alan's team had made a breakthrough. We figured out how their control systems work, he told General Kelly during her monthly visit. They use a form of quantum entanglement to maintain their networks. It's advanced, but it has a fundamental flaw. What kind of flaw? Asked the general. Alan smiled. They never considered that the observer effect could be weaponized. We're building a device that can disrupt their entire control system. How long until it's ready? We have a prototype now, Alan said, but it only works at short range. We need to scale it up. On Mars, Lisa had made her own discovery. During a rare break, she managed to get close to one of the alien power generators. When she activated her suit's heating system, the generator's output fluctuated. It was a small change, but it confirmed what she had suspected. The aliens' technology was vulnerable to certain electromagnetic frequencies. Now she just needed to get this information back to Earth. The aliens monitored all communications, but workers were rotated back to Earth every 6 months. Her return trip was just 2 weeks away. In the Confederation Assembly, far from Earth, another issue had arisen. A delegate from the Cygnus sector rushed into the chamber during a routine meeting. "Thomai, Void Scourge has returned," the delegate shouted, causing immediate uproar. "They've destroyed our outpost at Cygnus Beta." The chamber erupted in panic. The Void Scourge was an ancient enemy, a species that fed on energy itself. They had nearly destroyed the Confederation 3,000 years ago, before mysteriously disappearing. "This is impossible," said an elder delegate. "The Scourge was eradicated." "The evidence is clear," replied the Cygnus delegate. "Our outpost was consumed just as in the ancient records. Nothing left but empty husks of ships and buildings, drained of all power." Ambassador Zethel stepped forward. "We must mobilize our fleets immediately. Where are our main battle groups?" "Admiral Krelvor has the first fleet at Earth," replied the military coordinator. "The second fleet is patrolling the Orion Arm. The third is in dock for upgrades." "Recall the first fleet from Earth," ordered Zethel. "Leave only enough ships to maintain the control grid." As the Confederation prepared for war, they didn't realize that on Earth, the real fight was just beginning. The pieces were moving into place. Project Prometheus was nearly ready, and Lisa Donovan was heading home with crucial information. In his office at the New York Control Center, Administrator Krelvor reviewed the latest production reports from Mars. The humans were performing better than expected. Maybe they weren't so primitive after all. Still, they were safely under control, their creativity harnessed for the benefit of the Confederation. What Krelvor didn't know was that a storm was brewing, a storm that would soon change everything. 1 year had passed since the aliens took control of Earth. In the underground Prometheus facility, Alan Wright stood before a small device on the testing table. It looked simple, just a metal box with a few lights and controls. But this small box was humanity's greatest hope. "Is everyone ready?" Alan asked, looking at the team around him. They all wore protective goggles, though no one knew if they would help. Olivia Martinez stood by the monitoring equipment. "All sensors active. We're recording everything." Alan took a deep breath and pressed the button. For a moment, nothing happened. Then all the lights in the facility flickered. The alien communication device they had set up for testing went dark. Every piece of alien technology in the room stopped working. "It works," someone shouted. The team broke into cheers and hugs. Alan checked the readings. 5-mile radius, just as we calculated. Every piece of Confederation tech within that area is offline. General Kelly watched from the observation room. "How long until we can make more?" "We have the design perfected," Alan replied. "With the factories we've set up in old mine shafts, we can produce about 100 units per month." "Not enough," the general said, shaking her head. "We need thousands." "I know," Alan agreed. "But we can target key locations, knock out their command centers, their ships." At that moment, the facility's secure door opened. Lisa Donovan walked in, escorted by security officers. She looked tired after her journey from Mars, but her eyes lit up when she saw the device on the table. "Is that it?" she asked. "The Prometheus device?" Alan nodded. "Just finished the final test. It works." Lisa pulled a small object from her pocket. It looked like a rock, but inside was a memory chip. I have something that might help. The aliens' power systems have a weakness. They're sensitive to specific electromagnetic frequencies. She handed the chip to Olivia, who immediately connected it to their computer. The screen filled with technical data Lisa had collected on Mars. This is incredible, Olivia said as she scrolled through the information. You're right. Their whole power grid is vulnerable to EM pulses at this frequency. Can we modify the Prometheus device to target that specifically? Asked General Kelly. Alan studied the data. Yes, and it might let us extend the range too. While the resistance prepared on Earth, trouble was brewing for the Confederation. The Void Scourge had destroyed 3 more outposts and was moving deeper into Confederation territory. In a secure communication room, Administrator Krelvor spoke with Ambassador Zethel. You're pulling away more ships? Krelvor asked, his face showing concern. We're already at minimum staffing. We have no choice, Zethel replied. The Void Scourge has destroyed the Pelican Sector fleet. We need every ship we can get. What about my request for more engineers? The humans are showing unusual aptitude for our mining technology. We could increase production with proper supervision. Zithel looked annoyed. Engineers are being reassigned to weapons development. You'll have to make do with what you have. After the call ended, Krelvor walked to his office window. From here he could see New York City, now with added alien structures rising among the human buildings. The city was productive, the humans compliant. But lately he had noticed something strange. The humans asked too many questions. They were too interested in how things worked. On the alien mining base on Mars, the situation was even more unusual. Human workers had begun suggesting improvements to the mining processes. At first, the alien supervisors ignored them. But when one human team led by a quiet engineer named Steve Miller increased their output by 30%, using a modified digging approach, the aliens started listening. How did you know this would work better? Asked the alien supervisor, examining the modified equipment. Just a hunch, Steve replied with a shrug. We use similar techniques in deep-sea mining back on Earth. What the supervisor didn't know was that Steve was part of the resistance, deliberately making himself valuable to gain access to more alien technology. Back on Earth, Alan's team worked day and night to improve the Prometheus device. With Lisa's data, they made significant progress. We've increased the range to 15 miles, Alan told General Kelly during their weekly meeting, and we're now producing 200 units per month. Better, but still not enough, she replied. What about the communication problem? Alan nodded. We've solved it. Regular radio won't work when the devices are active, but we've developed a system using old-style Morse code transmitted through vibrations in the ground. Low-tech, but effective. And the aliens won't detect it because they don't even look for such primitive technology, the general said with a smile. Perfect. Across Earth, the resistance was growing stronger. In every city, humans were secretly organizing. They identified key alien facilities, mapped patrol routes, and prepared safe houses. The first Prometheus devices were distributed to resistance cells in major cities. In Chicago, a small team tested a device near an alien patrol route. When activated, the alien vehicles suddenly stopped working. The confused aliens were quickly captured by the resistance fighters. In London, another team used a device to disable the security system at an alien research facility. They slipped in, stole valuable technology, and disappeared before reinforcements arrived. Each small victory gave humans more knowledge and more confidence. The aliens, used to easy control over their subjects, were slow to recognize the pattern. Meanwhile, the Void Scourge continued its advance. 5 major Confederation worlds had now fallen. The strange beings consumed all energy they encountered, leaving dead worlds in their wake. In an emergency meeting of the Confederation High Command, military leaders argued about strategy. Our standard tactics aren't working, said Fleet Commander Drez. The Scourge adapts too quickly. Perhaps we need fresh perspectives, suggested a junior officer. The humans have shown remarkable problem-solving abilities in the resource operations. Use primitives to fight our battles? Scoffed a senior commander. Absurd. Ambassador Zithel, who had been quietly listening, spoke up. Actually, it may not be such a bad idea. Humans think differently than we do. They might see solutions we miss. Are you suggesting we ask our slaves for help? Asked another leader. I'm suggesting we use every resource available, Zithel replied. Our survival is at stake. On Earth, Administrator Krelvor faced growing problems. Equipment failures were increasing. Human workers were less productive. Supplies were going missing. Nothing serious enough to report to his superiors, but together these small issues were becoming a major headache. We need to increase security, he told his chief of operations. Something isn't right. Our security forces are already stretched thin, the chief replied. Most of our troops have been reassigned to the Void Scourge conflict. Krelvor frowned. Then bring in more human police forces. Offer rewards for information about resistance activities. Do you think there's organized resistance? I'm not sure, Krelvor admitted, but better to be cautious. Little did he know that the human resistance was far more organized than he imagined. In the Prometheus facility, Alan and his team had made another breakthrough. We've modified the device to target their ships specifically, he told General Kelly. One device can disable a cruiser-class vessel. The general nodded approvingly. How many ships do they have in Earth orbit now? Just 3, Olivia reported. They've pulled most of their fleet away to fight the Void Scourge. Then it's time, General Kelly said firmly. We launched the operation in 2 weeks. The plan was complex but clear. Resistance cells worldwide would activate Prometheus devices simultaneously, targeting every alien facility on Earth. Special teams would capture key alien leaders, including Administrator Krelvor, and a small strike force would use the orbital shuttle to place devices near the 3 remaining alien ships. As preparations entered their final stage, something unexpected happened. An alien engineer named Trell approached his human assistant, Ben Parker, with an unusual request. The cooling system isn't working properly, Trell said, showing Ben a diagram of an important communication relay. Our standard procedures aren't solving the problem. Have you tried rerouting through the secondary coolant loop? Ben suggested. Trell looked surprised. That would violate standard protocol. Sometimes you have to try something new, Ben said with a shrug. After hesitating, Trell made the change. The system immediately stabilized. How did you know that would work? Humans are good at improvising, Ben replied. This small interaction was happening more and more across Earth and Mars. Alien supervisors, facing problems their training hadn't prepared them for, were quietly asking their human workers for suggestions. And humans, following resistance instructions, were providing help, while carefully gathering information. In space, the war against the Void Scourge was going badly. Confederation forces were in retreat across multiple sectors. Standard tactics failed again and again against the energy-consuming enemy. A desperate message reached Administrator Krelvor. Prepare to receive diplomatic delegation. Arriving tomorrow. Top priority. The next day, a small but elegant ship landed at the New York Control Center. Ambassador Zithel himself stepped out, accompanied by several high-ranking Confederation officials. Administrator, Zithel greeted Krelvor coldly. We need to speak privately. The day of Operation Prometheus arrived. Across Earth, resistance fighters prepared to activate their devices. In the underground facility, General Kelly addressed the command team. Today we take back our planet, she said, her voice firm. Every team knows their targets. We strike at exactly 0300 hours when most of the aliens will be in their rest cycle. Alan and Olivia checked the main control systems one last time. From here, they would coordinate the worldwide operation using old radio equipment that would still work when the Prometheus devices activated. What about the aliens' request for a meeting? Olivia asked. News of Ambassador Zithel's arrival had reached them through their spies. We proceed as planned, General Kelly replied. Whatever they want to talk about can wait until we negotiate, from a position of strength. At the New York Control Center, Administrator Krelvor prepared for an important meeting. Ambassador Zithel had arranged for a small group of human leaders to hear the Confederation's proposal. They had reluctantly agreed to include General Kelly, even though the alien suspected she had connections to resistance activities. "Remember, we need their cooperation," Zithel told Krelvor. "Be respectful, no threats." Krelvor nodded, though he didn't like it. Treating humans as equals went against everything he believed. At 0255 hours, teams of resistance fighters moved into position around alien facilities worldwide. Each carried a Prometheus device, ready to activate on command. In orbit, 3 human astronauts, secretly working for the resistance, prepared to place devices near the alien ships. They had been carefully selected for the space construction crews, positioning themselves for this moment. At exactly 0300 hours, General Kelly gave the order, "Activate all devices. Operation Prometheus is go." Across the planet, Prometheus devices switched on. Alien technology everywhere suddenly failed. Control centers went dark. Security systems shut down. Communication networks fell silent. In the New York Control Center, the lights flickered and died. Emergency systems tried to activate but failed. Ambassador Zithel looked around in confusion. "What's happening?" he demanded. Administrator Krelvor tried to use his personal communicator, but it was dead. "Some kind of power failure. Our backup systems should—" The door burst open. Resistance fighters rushed in, carrying simple weapons that needed no advanced technology. Crossbows, compound, bows, and even swords. "Nobody move!" shouted the lead fighter. "You're now prisoners of the Human Alliance." In orbit, the astronauts successfully planted devices on all 3 alien ships. The massive vessels drifted powerless, their crews trapped inside. Across Earth, similar scenes played out. Alien facilities fell one after another. Some aliens fought back with simple weapons, but they were outnumbered and unprepared. Most surrendered quickly. By dawn, the resistance controlled every major alien installation on the planet. Thousands of aliens were in custody. Earth was free. In the New York Control Center, now serving as the resistance headquarters, General Kelly faced Ambassador Zithel and Administrator Krelvor. "Well," she said calmly, "I believe you wanted to talk." Zithel looked at her with new respect. "I underestimated your species, General. This operation was impressive. We want all alien forces to leave Earth immediately," General Kelly stated. "All human prisoners must be returned from Mars and other facilities." "That may be difficult," Zithel replied. "We're at war with the Void Scourge. Most of our transport ships are engaged in the conflict." "That's your problem, not ours," General Kelly said firmly. Krelvor stepped forward. "You don't understand the threat. If the Void Scourge defeats the Confederation, they'll come for Earth next. They consume all energy they encounter. Your planet would be defenseless." General Kelly considered this. "You came here to ask for our help, didn't you? That's why Ambassador Zithel arrived." Zithel nodded. "Yes. We're prepared to offer Earth full membership in the Confederation in exchange for your assistance against the Void Scourge." The room fell silent. Alan, who stood beside General Kelly, spoke up. "The same Confederation that voted to enslave us, why would we join you now?" "Because survival is at stake for all of us," Zithel answered. "The Void Scourge is unlike anything we've faced in thousands of years. Our tactics are failing. We need new perspectives." General Kelly exchanged glances with her advisors. "We need to discuss this privately. Guards, escort our guests to the secure conference room." After the aliens left, the human leaders gathered to debate. "We should refuse," said one military commander. "Let the Confederation fall. They deserve it after what they did to us." "But what about the Void Scourge?" asked another. "If they're as dangerous as the aliens claim, we could be next." Alan stepped forward. "I think we should help, but not on their terms. Not as members of the Confederation, but as equals, as the Human Alliance." General Kelly nodded. "And we should demand access to their technology databases as payment for our help. We've proven we can disable their tech, but learning how it works would benefit us long term." After hours of discussion, They reached a decision. When they returned, to meet with the aliens, General Kelly presented their terms. The Human Alliance will assist in the war against the Void Scourge, but as an independent power, not as members of the Confederation. In exchange, we demand the immediate release of all humans from your labor camps, full withdrawal of occupation forces, and complete access to your technology databases. Zethel looked surprised. You're in no position to make such demands. You may have taken Earth, but the Confederation still has vast resources. Resources that are 6 months after the liberation of Earth, the war against the Void Scourge reached its climax. Admiral Kelly stood on the bridge of the Defiance looking at the tactical display. Around her, human and alien officers worked together, preparing for the final battle. The Scourge fleet is moving exactly as predicted, reported the tactical officer. They're heading for the Proxima Centauri system. And our forces are in position? Admiral Kelly asked. Yes, Admiral. The Human Alliance fleet is hidden behind the outer planets. Confederation forces are stationed at these coordinates. He pointed to several locations on the display. They'll engage the Scourge first, then fall back, leading them into our trap. The plan was bold but dangerous. The combined fleet would lure the Void Scourge into a carefully prepared position where hidden human ships could activate a new weapon, the Lazarus Protocol. In the science lab aboard the Defiance, Alan Wright and Olivia Martinez made final adjustments to the system. The Lazarus Protocol was their most ambitious creation yet, a large-scale version of the Prometheus device, modified to target the Scourge's unique energy signature. Will it work? Olivia asked, her voice tense. In theory, yes, Alan replied, but we've never tested it at this scale. The simulations look good, but the Scourge might have another adaptation we haven't seen. Olivia finished his thought. Alan nodded. That's why we have backup plans B through F. On the Confederation, command ship Ambassador Zethel watched nervously as the battle began. The initial phase went as planned. Confederation forces engaged the Scourge, then began a fighting retreat, drawing the enemy deeper into the system. The humans' trap better work, muttered a Confederation commander. We're taking heavy losses. It will work, Zethel said with more confidence than he felt. Over the past months he had learned to trust human ingenuity, but this battle would determine the fate of countless worlds. As the Confederation ships pulled back, the Void Scourge pursued. Eagerly, the energy-consuming entities had learned to fear the unpredictable human tactics and were pleased to face the more familiar Confederation forces. They're in position, announced the tactical officer on the Defiance. All ships report ready. Admiral, Kelly took a deep breath. Activate the Lazarus Protocol. Throughout the system, hidden human ships powered up the new weapon. Energy waves rippled across space, invisible but powerful. When they reached the Scourge vessels, the effect was immediate and devastating. The Scourge ships began to lose power. Their energy absorption abilities reversed, causing them to leak the very power they had consumed. Like balloons deflating, they shrank and weakened. It's working, someone shouted. All ships engage, ordered Admiral Kelly. Don't give them time to adapt. The combined human and Confederation fleet attacked from all sides. The weakened Scourge tried to flee, but they were surrounded. For 3 hours the battle raged. By the end, not a single Scourge vessel remained. Cheers erupted across the fleet. The Void Scourge, terror of the galaxy, had been defeated. In the days that followed, cleanup operations began. Surviving Scourge were contained using modified Lazarus devices. Planets that had been drained of energy were assessed for potential recovery. 2 weeks after the victory, Admiral Kelly and Ambassador Zethel stood in the Grand Chamber of the Confederation Assembly. All 17 species were represented, but this time, humans were present not as subjects but as honored allies. Confederation President Tellamore addressed the chamber. Today we recognize the extraordinary contribution of the Human Alliance in defeating the Void Scourge. Without their unique perspective and innovative tactics, the outcome might have been very different. Zethel stepped forward. In light of their service, I propose that the Human Alliance be offered full membership in the Galactic Confederation, with all rights and privileges. Murmurs spread through the chamber. Most delegates seemed supportive, but Admiral Kelly raised her hand to speak. "Thank you for this honor," she said, her voice clear and strong. "But the Human Alliance must respectfully decline membership at this time." Shocked whispers filled the room. President Tellamore looked confused. "May I ask why?" "The Confederation works through consensus and standardized procedures," Admiral Kelly explained. "That system has brought you stability and peace for thousands of years, and we respect that. But humans thrive on diversity of thought and approach. We believe we can best serve the galaxy as independent allies rather than members bound by Confederation protocols." After a moment of silence, Tellamore nodded, slowly. "We understand and respect your decision. The Confederation recognizes the Human Alliance as a sovereign power and welcomes an alliance between our peoples." The formal ceremony concluded with the signing of the Alliance Treaty. Humans would maintain their independence while cooperating with the Confederation on matters of mutual interest. As the delegates began to leave, Ambassador Zithil approached Admiral Kelly and Alan Wright. "I owe you an apology," he said quietly. "1 year ago, I stood in this chamber and argued for the subjugation of your species. I was wrong." "You weren't entirely wrong," Alan replied. "Humans can be dangerous and unpredictable, but those same qualities saved the galaxy when ordered thinking couldn't." Zithil nodded. "I have a request. Would the Human Alliance accept students from Confederation worlds, young ones who wish to learn your way of thinking?" Admiral Kelly smiled. "We would welcome them. Earth's universities are already preparing exchange programs." "And what of the future?" asked Zithil. "Where will the Human Alliance go from here?" "To the stars," Alan said simply. "There's a whole galaxy to explore, and we've only just begun." 1 month later, Alan Wright stood on the observation deck of the New Earth space station, watching. Ships come and go. Some were human vessels, others belonged to various Confederation species. After the victory against the Void Scourge, travel and trade between Earth and the rest of the galaxy had flourished. Olivia Martinez joined him at the window. "The first group of alien students arrives tomorrow," she said. 20 young beings, from 12 different species, all coming to learn how humans think. "I still find that funny," Alan replied with a smile. "A year ago, they saw us as primitive animals to be used for labor. Now they're sending their children to learn from us." "Maybe that's the greatest victory," Olivia suggested. "Not defeating the Scourge, but changing how the galaxy sees humanity and how we see ourselves." On the planet below, Earth was changing too. Alien technology, modified by human innovation, was helping to clean the environment, cure diseases, and solve the energy crisis. The brief period of occupation had led to unprecedented global unity. The Human Alliance now spoke for all of Earth, while still respecting the sovereignty of individual nations. In his office at the new Human Alliance headquarters in Geneva, General Frank Rogers, who had taken over when Samantha Kelly became admiral, reviewed reports from the Mars colony. After the aliens left, humans had reclaimed the Red Planet, but with a new vision. Now it was being transformed into humanity's first major off-world settlement, a stepping stone to the stars. Lisa Donovan, recently appointed as Mars Colony Director, appeared on his screen for their weekly update. "The new atmospheric processors are exceeding expectations," she reported. "At this rate, we could have breathable air in the habitation zones within 15 years instead of 30. "Excellent work," the general replied. "And the alien technology research?" "We're making good progress. The combined human-alien science teams work well together. It turns out our different approaches to problems create better solutions than either would find alone." This pattern was repeating across the galaxy. Human creativity paired with Confederation knowledge was solving problems that had stumped both sides individually. In the Varaxian homeworld, Ambassador Zithel prepared for an important ceremony. Today, his youngest son would depart for Earth to study at Harvard University. He was both proud and nervous. "You'll be careful?" he asked his son. "Humans can be unpredictable. That's why I'm going, Father," the young Varaxian replied with excitement. "To learn how to think beyond patterns and protocols. The future belongs to those who can adapt." Zithel couldn't argue with that. The Void Scourge had nearly destroyed the Confederation precisely because its forces couldn't adapt quickly enough. Only human unpredictability had saved them all. On Earth, the first interstellar ships built entirely by humans were preparing for their maiden voyages. Unlike the Confederation's carefully planned and regulated expansion, human exploration would be driven by curiosity and adventure. Admiral Kelly, standing on the bridge of the new exploration vessel Discovery, gave the order to depart. "Take us. Out, navigator. Let's see what's out there." As the ship moved away from Earth, she thought about the journey that had brought humanity to this point. From captives to saviors, from ridiculed primitives to respected allies, all in less than 2 years. The Confederation had voted to enslave Earth, seeing only a primitive species with dangerous tendencies. Now they sent their children to learn from humans and begged for the creative thinking they had once dismissed. Perhaps that was the true nature of humanity, Admiral Kelly reflected. Not just the ability to fight when threatened, but to adapt, to forgive, and to share knowledge with those who once sought to control them.